Okay, if you're in the pharmaceutical world, listen up, because your compliance landscape has just made a major shift. The British Pharmacopoeia 2026 is officially here. And let's be clear, these new standards, they're not just suggestions. They are legally binding. So what does this actually mean for you and your lab day to day? Let's dive in. And this is the million-dollar question right now, isn't it? Because being non-compliant, well, it isn't just a slap on the wrist. We're talking about some pretty significant legal and operational consequences. And look, this isn't just a UK issue. Not at all. Whether you're in an MHRA-governed facility in Britain or you're an FDA-regulated lab over in the United States, these standards are now the law you have to follow. So the most important thing to get your head around is just the sheer scale of this update. So let's just break it down. Let's look at the sheer volume of changes in this new edition. I mean, this is not a simple reprint. We're talking about a significant overhaul. First up, we've got 19 brand new monographs, and these aren't just minor tweaks, okay? These are entirely new standards for substances that just weren't covered before. That means brand new procedures for your team to develop and integrate.
Next, there are 34 new monographs that have been pulled in directly from the European Pharmacopoeia. You can see this is a really clear move towards international alignment, which should, hopefully, simplify things for labs working across both UK and EU markets.
But this is the number that should really get your attention if you're a QC professional. 131. That is how many existing standards have been changed. You know what that means, right? Your established, business-as-usual procedures, well, they might be totally out of date now.
So when you put it all together, you really get the full picture. We're looking at a total of 53 completely new monographs and 131 significant revisions. I mean, this is a massive update by any measure.
And you know, these updates cover some really widely used products. For instance, there are completely new standards for things like fludarabine for injection and latanoprost eye drops. If you work with these, your testing procedures need to be updated like yesterday.
Now here's a really interesting development. For the first time ever, we're seeing scaled methods for ibuprofen products. This is the BP's big move towards sustainability, a way to reduce solvent waste without compromising quality. And let me tell you, this is a huge shift in the UK that is absolutely 100% going to impact US labs very soon.
Now, I know what some of my colleagues in the US might be thinking. Why does a British update matter so much to me? Well, it's a fair question, and the answer is all about the global bridge. And the answer is pretty simple: global harmonization. See, the BP 2026 incorporates updates from the European Pharmacopoeia. So if you're a US-based company and you export to Europe or the Commonwealth, you have to comply with these standards. There is just no way around it.
To put it as plainly as possible, for any international operation that even touches these markets, the BP 2026 basically becomes your legal Bible. It is the definitive standard you will be held to, period. And here's an insider tip. It's why a lot of US companies actually prefer it. With over 1,400 detailed monographs specifically for formulated preparations, the BP is often the most comprehensive go-to resource for international stability testing. It's just incredibly detailed. Of course, it's not just about what's been added. It is just as important to know what has been removed. It seems like the BP Commission is kind of tightening the ship.
So several monographs, including things like senna liquid extract and bumetide injection, have been proposed for omission. And the main reason they're giving is simply their low usage within the UK.
But here's a little pro tip for you. If your lab is still using these standards, don't panic. They're just being moved to what's called the BP archive. They are still legally in force under the Human Medicines Regulations 2012. They just won't be printed in the main volumes anymore. So just make sure you update your SOPs to reflect that change. Okay, so with all these changes flying around, what's the game plan? What's the strategy for your team? Let's walk through a clear, actionable plan to get you compliant.
All right, here is the single most important fact you need to know. The BP 2026 became legally effective on January 1st. This is not some future deadline to worry about, it is the current law. So if your lab hasn't fully transitioned, you are technically out of compliance right now.
So here are two things your team can do immediately. First, audit your reference standards. There are 12 new BP chemical reference substances you absolutely need to account for.
And second, if you have the online subscription, check those digital updates because the European Pharmacopoeia supplements are being rolled in mid-year. Whatever you do, don't wait for the 2027 print edition.
You know, when you really look at it, the British Pharmacopoeia 2026 is so much more than just a book of standards. It's a really clear reflection of where the entire pharmaceutical industry is heading. It's becoming more sustainable, more digital, and more globally harmonized.
These big trends, sustainability, digitalization, harmonization, they are literally shaping the future of our industry. The standards are clearly adapting. The only real question that's left is, are we?